welcome to the Blinky Podcast. Today's topic is Little Shop of Horrors because I said I would do that for the last one. I have some new ideas lined up for the next few episodes, including the UK. Talk about that, so stay tuned. But I already planned the one for today, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Sorry, my hair is insane. I don't know, it feels like every time I wash it as soon as I get out of the shower, it turns out really well, but then the next day it's just everywhere. It's bad, and I didn't blow dry it or straighten it today or anything. I got a new hairspray for my type of hair, and I didn't use it today. So this is me naturally. Okay. Anyway, today's topic, Little Shop of Horrors, and something I've been interested in for a long time. First, let's dive into how I got into it. So, I had a theater class in my sophomore year of high school because I did not go to in-person school for my freshman year, which is a different campus from the actual high school where I live because it's a horrible town. It's so bad, and they separated the freshman campus from the high school. Anyway, I did not go to the freshman campus because COVID had just happened a bit before that, and I was very used to being online. I liked to isolate myself, so that was fun. Let's not get into that now, though. I went back to an actual high school in sophomore year, and it ended up being a really good year. First, I joined drama club because I was accidentally put into a theater class rather than a tech theater class. So tech theater was more like the backstage stuff and the place where you're kind of near the ceiling, like really high up, and you deal with the lights and things like that. I was supposed to be put in a class for that because I did not want to be put into regular theater because I'm very introverted. I didn't want to be part of a play, but they accidentally put me in regular theater, and honestly, it's the best mistake that school has made ever because I had a really good time. My teacher was the nicest person I've ever met. Not just for teachers, just in general. And I ended up trying out for Alice in Wonderland. I was a mouse. I had the very first act, and it was my first ever play that I'd been in. Other than, little things at churches, things like that. So, it was a very interesting experience to be in a play for the first time because I'd never done it before. I was around a lot of new people, but I ended up being friends with a lot of them because theater was a very accepting, fun place. Okay, hello. Thank you. Okay. And I had a great time in theater. During the actual class, apart from the... Okay. She's very loving today. This is my little kitty. So cute. So, apart from actual drama club, there was the class where we would watch plays and movies a lot of the time. And we would have to do assignments about them. One of the assignments was about Little Shop of Horrors. I had never really heard about Little Shop of Horrors before that year, so it was very interesting to watch it, but we only had watched about half of it before we just had to do the assignment. So I decided to go home and find the exact recording that she played for us, and I played it all the way through, and I was amazed. At that point, I hadn't really gotten much into the music of it. I just really enjoyed the whole idea because it's interesting, you know, the idea of a dude having this man-eating plant in his store, and he loves someone so much to where he feeds himself to them, and then in one version the girl to them. You know, it's some great symbolism we got going on here, and the whole idea was just so smart to me. And then I started getting more into the music because at that point I was just a bit obsessed. I would think about it quite often, but it wasn't all the time. And then a few months ago, it randomly came back to me just out of nowhere. I ended up watching the 1986, I think that's the year it was, movie of it. And since then, it was just amazing to me. I also have watched multiple plays, but I started getting more into the soundtrack, and there are many versions of it. I found a playlist with every single version of every single song from Little Shop of Horrors on it. I went through all of that. I picked my favorites and made a new playlist just for my favorites of different songs, and I am obsessed with Get It, to say the least. I've played it 150 times since January because I would have a thing where every day I would play the song from my car to school and then to school back to my car, and then sometimes I would play it on the way back home or to school, and then in the nighttime I would play it. If you couldn't tell, I really liked that song specifically. The Meek Shell Inherit was another one of my favorites, or is, I mean. It's probably my second favorite because I love the different parts of Skip Snip and all that. He is actually probably my dream role. It's a very small role, but very interesting. The thing is, I do not like how they removed the Meek Shell Inherit from the movie, and I understand why. I believe my friend told me it was just because it made his personality seem and his ideals seem very different from what he actually wanted. And it makes sense, but it's a really fun song because they originally also made it in the movie, but it was cut from the movie and then just put back into plays differently, of course. But I really love that song, and I love the role that Skip Snip and all those different roles play in it. It just seems very whimsical and fun to do with all these different personalities you have and all the dress changes. So I would love to do that. Another one of my dream roles is probably Orin, the dentist. You know, it surprises me how many people do not know what Orin's name is. I think it's only said like a few times throughout the movie and play, but not many people know his name for some reason, and every time I say I really like Orin, I think he's so funny, they're like, who? And it's people who have known Little Shop of Horrors for years. Sorry, I didn't turn my notifications off, so I keep grabbing you. I'm sorry. Anyway, I love Dentist. It's a really good song. I would love to perform it, but unfortunately, I do not have the personality for that. I don't think I could do all that. I don't think I could be rolling around on the ground pretending to almost die while yelling. I just don't seem like that. But it would be fun to try to do, and you know, when it comes to acting, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. If you really want it, and that goes for a lot of things, if you really want it, You just have to try really hard, and then you can do it. So, also the 1960 version of Little Shop of Horrors, the very first one, I've also watched that, and I'd say it's decent. I was kind of zoning out the entire time. They just didn't make Audrey's personality what I thought it should be, because in the 1986 version, she's very, I don't know how to describe it. Is ditzy the word? I don't want to use the wrong word, but I mean that she appears to not be able to stand up for herself very well and things like that, unfortunately. But then in the 1960s, is it 50s or 60s? I don't know. The oldest version that's black and white, she seems very self-righteous and things like that, and that's beautiful. That's amazing. But it just doesn't really fit her character. It is so different from my favorite, the 1986 version of her. The characterization in that one was absolutely amazing. As for specific roles, my favorite Seymour probably has to be the 1986 one. Rick Moranis, however you say that. Yeah, I'm a mega fan, but I don't know how to say his last name. I think it's Rick Moranis. And he's the embodiment of what Seymour would be, because he's so nerdy. And in order to be Seymour, you have to be a nerd. That's the thing with some of Seymour casting. They don't really seem like nerds sometimes. And I haven't watched a whole lot of plays of it, but I've watched a decent amount. I want to watch all of them, honestly, but I found a playlist with a lot of them that you can buy, and, well, there's a lot. So it's very interesting, and in my opinion, the Jeremy Jordan version is pretty good, honestly. A lot of people say that he doesn't fit the role of being a nerd, but here's the thing about me. I am very dumb when it comes to celebrities. I didn't know this dude was in anything else, because once you get to know me, you'll realize that you will be talking about celebrities and I'll say, "Who is that?" Because I don't know. I literally don't know anything. So I didn't know this dude was in anything else. So as soon as I saw him, I was like, yeah, he fits that, because I haven't seen him as anything else. I didn't know what he even looked like outside of the role, and I didn't know he looked like that, because outside of it, he doesn't seem like a nerd. But honestly, in the play, I think it honestly fits him pretty well. I don't know. I think he did a very good job, and it was very funny. Some parts of it, like during the Meet Shell and Harriet, he kept laughing. Made me laugh too. Yeah. The Milo version was very accurate, and I liked how he characterized Seymour by himself. I think it was done very well. I love his version of it, because he's also another embodiment of Seymour, just being very nerdy. So that's my views on that. As for Audrey, I haven't really gotten into who is my favorite of her. One of the albums on YouTube, I don't know what the name of the specific casting is, but it's green, the one that has just a bunch of green on it. I really love all of the songs from that soundtracks, and I think the girl who plays Audrey in that has a perfect voice for her. I think all of their voices are pretty much perfect, and I love that casting. As for the movie version, her vocalization is very impressive. I don't know how anyone can hit that vocal range. It's just sometimes I have a different view of what Audrey should be like, that she doesn't exactly fit with the vocalizations. Am I making sense? I don't know. I'm just stating my opinions on something that I've been obsessed with for a while. So, yeah. As for my favorite Audrey too, another one of my favorites is the Green album. I think that voice fits very well. And there was also a UK cast recording that I found his voice to be very intriguing in during Get It, in that specific version. It's very interesting. I really like the voice because I feel like it's very different from the others. You don't really expect that one when you hear Audrey 2, but you like it just as much. What's also funny to me about the UK version is you can tell that they're trying so hard to do an American accent, and it doesn't really work. So it's very funny, especially during Dadu, I think it is. I love that song. It's so fun. Is it even a song? I don't know. Would you consider that a song? Maybe. But during that song, you can really tell that he's British. It's very humorous. So then I also wanted to talk about Theater Kids because, Little Shop of Horrors is one of the biggest, most out there plays that anybody knows. And I feel like a lot of people do not like Theater Kids. And it's always just made me really angry because theater was what made my high school experience not so bad. And as soon as I would go into my drama club, I would immediately feel better because I knew that these people weren't judging me for anything, and that all of our roles were part of our experiences as a high schooler and making new friends and things like that. I have always felt very connected to theater. So the fact that some people just boil Theater Kids down to weirdo nerds always really makes me angry because, there's always going to be people in certain groups who are going to be weird. JROTC? How do I be kind about this? JROTC kids are not the brightest. I'll give them that. I have been standing outside my drama club room waiting to be picked up, and they are the loudest people on campus. I could have probably heard them a mile away if they weren't right near me. And they just... I know that some of them for sure are not so bad, but a lot of them just seem a certain way. And I know that theater kids are loud a lot of the time because it's acting. You have to be loud. You literally have to be. You practice being loud. But I feel like that is only during drama club, and then as soon as they get out, they are self-aware. like, as soon as you leave the stage, you know, oh, I shouldn't be loud anymore. And you have to practice that a lot of the time, because when you're backstage during the actual play, you cannot be loud, or else people outside will hear you who are watching. And that's never good. We don't want that. So, but as I was saying, every club is going to have its weird people. Band kids. When I was in middle school, it was very interesting. I was a band kid myself, or I tried to be. I could play the instrument at times, but it was very difficult for me. And band kid humor is always very specific. Like, you know what makes them giggle, and I don't know about now, but back then it was always very specific and very not funny. Just straight up racism. I don't know. I haven't been in band for years, so I don't know about now, but back then it was not a good time. Anyway, my experience with theater kids has been amazing. I'm not saying that everyone else's has been the best, because sometimes they are very loud, but I feel like they have a social awareness that some other people do not have. So, yeah. I need to give my views about the cut version of Little Shop of Horrors versus the one that was televised and all that, because in the original version that people did not like for some reason, it was, well, I can understand it in a way. It was, how many minutes? 10 or 20 of Audrey 2 just going around the city and terrorizing people, killing them for 10 to 20 minutes straight. And I can understand that can get boring quick. The thing is, I originally watched that version. I have seen a lot of scenes from that one, and as I was watching it, I just kind of zoned out a bit. I did not notice that it was that long. While watching it, I was thinking, oh, this is pretty long, but I did not have a problem with it. And I didn't seem to notice that it was 10 to 20 minutes long, because I searched it up, just the movie itself, and it says at the end of this version, it is the amount of time that it was, and I said, what? It didn't feel like that. But I don't know. People originally didn't like that one. It's also the bad ending where everyone dies. But the other version that got televised more, personally, did not really make sense to me. It was very unrealistic. That was my opinion. Because it's where Audrey 2 gets killed from an electrical shot thing that Seymour randomly finds. And Audrey and Seymour are completely fine after that. And I just don't find that to be unrealistic. You're telling me that there is a plant from outer space who comes to Earth and can kill people, but he gets killed from an electrical shot? To me, it just doesn't make sense. It's not realistic. As for the symbolization of Seymour feeding Audrey 2, feeding Audrey to Audrey 2, that is much more symbolic to me, because in the beginning of the movie or play, she has the song Somewhere That's Green. She wants to go somewhere that's green. You know what's green? The plant. That is so beautiful to me. The fact that in the end, she says, Seymour, I love you so much. I want you to feed me to the plant. And then there's the reprised version of Somewhere That's Green in some versions. It is... I'm emotional. It's so beautiful. It's an amazing scene and they just cut it out. And Seymour being himself because of this, that seems realistic too. I mean, he had hurt so many people in the process of this. I feel like it would be realistic for him to go off the deep end because of it, and his one true love was gone. It seemed realistic. And then in the other version that other people seem to like more, that I do not agree with, they just live together in a house, and there ends up being a little Audrey too who's growing outside their house. I'm glad that it wasn't a totally happy ending, because I just feel like a completely happy ending is so unrealistic. I don't think it would happen whatsoever, but at least in the televised version there's a little Audrey too who's there at the front of their home, so it's not completely unrealistic. I'm not sure. Am I crazy? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Which version of Little Shop of Horrors, of the movie version, do you like the most? The bad ending or the good ending? And please give me a reason, because I totally am more interested in the bad ending. I think it's more likely to happen and there's more symbolization that comes with it. But I think the majority of people are just much more comfortable with good endings, so they choose to like that one just because they will not get so emotional over the ending, and I understand. But when something is just so unrealistic, for me, it just gets to the point where I don't like it, you know? There has to be something about it that can be symbolic or, you know, not so unrealistic. How many times have I said that? I don't know, but it just feels that way to me. I don't think it would happen. So, that's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments if you've watched A Little Shop of Horrors. I just wanted to do something that was about my interest so that everyone who watches this can get to know me better, because I've been liking this play and movie for so long to where I've watched so many versions of it, and I want to get everyone else's opinion on it. Honestly, it would be my dream it would have been my dream for my high school to do Little Shop of Horrors. And at one point I thought we were going to do Beetlejuice. One of my dream roles is Lydia, so I think that would have been amazing. I mean, I actually went to go see Beetlejuice in a theater live, and it was so fun. Everyone who was casted just fit so well, and it's such an interesting, fun play. I've always been a fan of the movie since I was 14, maybe 13, around there, and I've always loved it, so that was very fun. I need to watch more plays. That's the thing, because I keep hearing about Hadestown, and there's a play version of The Outsiders, apparently. I need to get on that. I need to get on a lot of things. So, if anyone has watched either of those, let me know how they were. I'm interested. I want to know if I should watch it, because a lot of people seem to like it, and Usually things are popular for a reason. Also, I realize that a lot of people do not like the Mean Girls musical, which I totally disagree with. They say that the original movie was much better, and yeah, I can totally understand that, honestly. I think the same. But they hate the musical. And I don't understand that. I think the music is great, the plot is amazing. All of the characters really fit the roles pretty much perfectly. So it confuses me as to why people don't like it, especially because the music is so popular. It's like a lot of these people are saying, I hate this musical so much, and then they go on their phone and search up Spotify and put on Apex Predator or one of the songs from it. It's hypocritical. I loved the Mean Girls musical. It's very interesting. So, yeah, I hope this was interesting to everyone, and I hope everyone will give me some insight as to what their opinions are regarding different versions of Little Shop of Horrors. What's your favorite version? What's your favorite castings? Do you like the bad ending or the good ending? Do you like the movie or the plays? Let me know. I'm so curious. In the next episode, we're going to be doing something about the UK. A lot of my friends know about it already, but I'm very excited to do an episode about British people. Okay. Bye, everyone.